Hi, I'm Jaehee, and I'm the Director of Academic Counseling Services here at MEK Review. Last time we talked a little bit about what to do. Now we're going to talk about what not to do, what to avoid on your Common App essay. The first thing that I want to take you through is not writing your resume. Your Common App essay, your personal statement, is not a place to write about all of your achievements. I'll be very honest with you. I don't really care that you got a black belt in Taekwondo or that you won gold medal at a track meet. Honestly, that's not the stuff that sets you apart from others. What I said last time was you want to talk about what has made you into the person you are today. That person you are is what's going to set you apart. You'll have plenty of space to talk about your achievements. There's a separate section for that on the Common App. You'll have plenty of space to talk about your activities, how you founded a club, how you did research, how you're the president of an organization. You can talk about that elsewhere too. So I want to challenge you to not talk about your achievements. Instead, try talking about what's difficult for you. And that is probably going to tell people a lot more about who you are. The second don't. Don't be afraid to talk about something negative. As long as my third don't keep it negative. You want to end it on a positive note. Now, with that said, you may still be struggling. You may still be trying to figure things out. You're 17 years old. That's perfectly fine. However, are you still drowning or are you trying to make your way up? That's what your essay is going to be about. If I give you a little bit of a little tidbit, there was a statistic years and years and years ago that the students on the West Coast tended to write more about positive things and those on the East Coast more about negative things. But that didn't change anything about their actual college admissions results. Whether you write about something negative, that might be a death in the family. That might be about a financial situation that tore your family apart. That might be about whatever else it is. As long as you're able to say, hey, I grew from this. And now, in college, I will become a much better person. That is going to be a winning essay. Kind of along the same wavelength here, you want to write about you, not someone else. I am 100% sure that that deceased loved one was a wonderful person, but eventually you're the one going to college. So focus on yourself. Turn the camera lens to yourself. I want to tell you about a few topics that you should avoid on the Common App essay. The first one, sports achievements. I told you a little earlier, I don't really care about that black belt in Taekwondo or that gold medal in your track meet. Frankly, so many students do sports. So what does that say about you? What does that gold medal or that black belt say about you? Is it really something that is so unique? So I want you to avoid this topic, at least for now, at least in the beginning, so that you can make room for other things. Let's not talk about that mission trip either. So many students go to church, and through church, they go to Guatemala, and they go to Haiti, and they go to all of these impoverished countries. But what did we learn from that? That's also going to be very much similar to the next student who went to Haiti and to Guatemala. So let's once again try to avoid that, because that is not going to set you apart. Now, this third one is one that you might identify with a little bit more, the COVID pandemic. The entire world went through the pandemic. To say that you have something very, very unique to say about the COVID pandemic is to say a lot. Don't get me wrong, some of the best essays that I have read were about the pandemic and about how a student got through it. However, it wasn't about them getting sick or about how their parents were first responders, but rather what they learned, how they spent that time. Now, I will also be very honest with you and say not many students did make much of that time. If you're going to write about how tiring it was to go into those Zoom classrooms, how much you had to stay at home, don't write about it. There's not much to say there. The fourth one is your political or religious views. You have so much to say about yourself. Yes, you've only lived 17 years, but you've lived 17 years. And so don't let your topic be covered by the guise of your political or religious views, because your admissions officer might not share the same views. And now suddenly you're an enemy, you're an opponent. So let's not make any situation or any opportunity for that. Now, the fifth one is a little bit of an outdated one, but some students might still identify with it. but the lunchbox story. Do you guys know the story of how an Asian or an Indian or anyone who's just not maybe native to America opened their lunchbox and it was smelly, or it looked like worms, or it just didn't look appetizing, and so everybody said, "Ew, what's that?" I will tell you that most of the minorities in America have had that story. Let's not talk about what was in your lunchbox, because now those lunchboxes are filled with so many other things. I'd rather talk about what's inside of you. Now with that, I want to give you a few suggestions of books to read. I know that a lot of you seniors right now, are really just acclimated to the lab report, the history report, talking about literary analysis as opposed to yourself. So I want you to read some. Read some examples of essays, personal essays, that will help you to know exactly how to write. Now, I have quite a few examples here. David Sedaris, for one example, has written Calypso, Me Talk Pretty One Day. Through those two books, he writes so much about himself, about tragedy, about losing family members, and about strife within the family as well. But I want you to take a look at those essays and say, this is how I can write about tragedy. This is how I can write about myself. I can write about my family while not focusing too much on them. Haruki Murakami is another author who writes a lot of different types of books. For one example, I really liked The Elephant Vanishes. Another example, a lot of great short stories, not so much personal, but definitely short stories. How to tell a story is what you'll learn from Murakami. The Art of the Personal Essay, you'll see that right here. It's somewhat of a Bible-looking book. It's a very large book. But skim through and see if you have any topics that match with the titles, and just read them. The Art of the Personal Essay shows a lot of examples from the past, from history, but then also some more recent ones. And so I want you to take a look and to see what you can put into your own essay. Small Wonder by Barbara Kingsolver, and I've Tried Being Nice. Now, Small Wonder is also a short story book, but I've Tried Being Nice can be a collection of shorter and longer form fiction. And then Writers on Writing by the New York Times. And so Writers on Writing actually has a lot of different volumes, but you'll be able to see a lot of good flash fiction, a lot of good short stories there as well. So I don't need you to read all 7 of these books, but pick up 1 or 2 and see which ones resonate most with you. What are the essays that you want to write? And use those examples. If you have any more questions about your Common App essay, you want some help, or any other college application guidance, feel free to email us or comment below, and we'll be more than happy to help. Good luck!